Welcome one and all to our coverage of the WMCQ Sunday the 2nd of June 2013 back in sunny Manchester, and really recovering a lot from what was the largest ever PTQ on the Saturday in England, or indeed the whole of the UK, 302 players. A lot more reasonable today, however.
Yeah, we're looking at about 128 people, so fortunately for the judge staff and everyone involved, they are right on the line of 7 players, 7 rounds Swiss. So we are in round 4 and we're watching Richard Parker, who is playing Aristocrats, against Lewis Marchbank, who has a little bit of spice in his deck. He looks like a standard Jund deck at first sight, but there's a few interesting things going on with his deck, which we'll hopefully see as the match develops.
So we're seeing the the standard start from Richard with the Aristocrats here.
Yeah, Doom Traveller and Skersdag High Priest, pretty much perfect from his side, and Lewis is going to instantly kill that High Priest, because otherwise it's just going to go to town and start making demons.
Nibbling for one, such is the state of magic at these days.
Well, such is the state of the Aristocrats deck more than anything else. It just, it really is a death of a thousand stings style deck, unless of course it has the Boros Reckoner Blasphemous Act kill.
And here we have our first person of the day who doesn't own any tokens.
Yeah, it's really surprising to me that if you do have a deck that if you do have a deck that's capable of producing tokens, have something other than dice that you can use to represent the tokens.
I'm not sure whether you're legally allowed to use dice to represent stuff anymore.
I don't think
I know
so,
there's
no.
lots of rules changes concerning what's allowed, because you can't represent them as being tapped, can you?
Correct.
I think that's the problem with dice.
Yeah.
So what are we seeing now happening here?
Richard has got Blood Artist, and well, he did have Blood Artist until Lewis had that tragic slip there. But I think that at that point, Richard had pretty much everything he wanted to start really going to town on Lewis's life total. Lewis down to 12 from a Shockland and back up to 14 with a Huntmaster of the Fells. So looks very Jundy so far from Lewis.
Now we are in round 4.
Yep, so both of these players are currently 3-0.
So Lewis obviously is doing something right, even if he is being unconventional.
Very true. But as we've spoken about with Jack Mitchell Burns and various other people during our interviews that we've done in past PTQ coverage, they really don't consider the tournament to start until after the first 3 or 4 rounds. So I think that for these guys the tournament starts now, and they're really looking towards getting to that top 8. Of course, at WMCQ, because it's an invitational event, you've got to assume that people you're going to be up against are probably going to be higher standard than a normal PTQ, although it's not exactly rigorous requirements for you to qualify for a WMCQ.
You just have to play a lot of Magic. You don't have to be good at it.
Pretty much. I mean, considering that you will get something like, I think at a PTQ the multiplyer's 5, is it? Something along those lines for your Planeswalker points. So, you're going to make an awful lot of points just by turning up to PTQs, pretty much.
I think sometimes if you go something like 4 and 4, you can get close to 100 points.
You can get a lot of points at these PTQs, especially one this size, especially because you will just earn, there'll be the participation factor, which is probably worth 40 or 50 points in a PTQ the size that we had yesterday. Just working out a couple of life total points here, but if that Blood Artist stays on the board from Richard here, I can't really see Lewis winning this game.
Lewis really looking to flip his Huntsmaster.
Unlikely it's going to happen, really. Although Richard is down to just 1 card in hand, so Lewis may just choose to pass the turn this time and use his Huntmaster.
Decisions.
I think he's contemplating flashing back his lingering souls here, seeing how much he wants to open himself up to something like a bonfire of the damned.
I think it'd be fine if a bonfire goes off.
Yeah, I mean his cartel aristocrat stays around.
He's going to put Lewis to 3.
He's going to use his tragic
blood artist.
Yeah, he uses his tragic slip on the Huntmaster there, getting rid of it.
I'm not quite sure why that was such a hard decision to make.
He might have been thinking about something like Olivia from Lewis, but it looks like Lewis doesn't have a 5th land, so he's. I think he's pretty much done for in this one. More dice.
The old pre-combat casting of spells.
Well, he's just representing lethal damage, isn't he? As that attack puts Lewis down to 4, and there's enough creatures on board for Richard just to sacrifice one at a time and take Lewis's life total down to 0.
Lewis probably realises this now.
Yep.
And scoots his card up, so Richard goes 1-0 up.